Hello, everyone. This is your Legends girl trying to make it in this discounting world, Alora Baga, OG Star Wars. And I welcome you this morning to Coffee Chat here. So let's wait a few minutes, have everybody grab their coffee, and let's get started. So my mug today is more of a native inspired mug with the mule deer, I believe. Yeah, mule deer looks like. The horns don't look like it though. They're the antlers. My husband like, ugh. All right. So let's wait a couple more minutes. Hello, everybody who just dropped in. Welcome to Coffee Chat. And today we have some great topics to discuss here. I'm going into Star Wars news. But first of all, I have a question for you so you can answer in the comments. Let me see if I can get more light. There we go. What is your favorite coffee and how do you like to prepare your coffee? So what is your favorite caff? What is your favorite brand? How do you like it? Do you like it straight up black? Do you like it with a little bit of sugar black? Do you like it with cream? Hello, Chaos. How you doing? Thank you so much. So tell me, that's the important question of the morning is how do you like your caff? Do you even drink caff? Do you drink coffee or tea? Is your eye opener or your morning drink a little bit more stronger? So let me know in the chats here as we get started. Wait for a couple more minutes, or not minutes, seconds, or a minute. So let me take a sip here. All right. So again, we're going to start on Star Wars news, what Mark Hamill had to say, Disney Plus. I do want to discuss, I seen it on SC Review, so shout out to SC Reviews on YouTube about Filoni and the Mandalorians. And lastly, we're going to talk about the Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader novelization, my Tuesday Star Wars lore. So, morning, Tommy. How you doing? Hey, Crazy Eye Jedi. So you like yours cheap? You like cheap, copy strong, like Chef's Best? Oh, at 3 a.m. I need a jolt. Hello. So those of you guys who are coming in, I asked the important question of the morning: how do you like your coffee? So, or how do you like your tea? Or do you drink something a bit stronger for your wake up drink in the morning? So share below. No shame in that. No shame in that whatsoever. Some people like something a little bit more stronger than just coffee or tea. Yes, Tommy, everything is well. So I'm excited to be with you here this morning. And since we got a few of you guys in chat already, let's go ahead and get into some Star Wars news. So let's see here. Let me get comfortable. You know, my shirt is not Star Wars related, but Stay Golden. So if you watched The Outsiders, that's referring to that movie. All right. So let's talk about Mark Hamill. So we all know how coy and sly he can be with his narrative when he is making his shots at Star Wars, Disney Star Wars. And so I really liked what he had to say about, Irish coffee, about what he had to comment about, you know, maybe you should wait for it to come out on cable. And now, do you guys think that's very telling of the upcoming movie, Episode 9? Do you think that there is some little truth to that, like the production, how it's going to be, the quality? Do you think there is like a hidden message behind that when Mark said that on Twitter? So let me know in the comments below. What do you think about that? Do you think Mark was spitting a little bit of truth behind what he had to say? Hi, Crash. How you doing? So Mark Hamill. So yeah, like I said, he's that one that just comes out and says things, and they're just like golden for the time. It's like he doesn't have to say things out blunt, but there is that message behind that. Yeah, I agree. It could just be his outlook towards the Disney since The Last Jedi. Yeah, you know, and with Mark's history with the sequel trilogy, you know, he joked around about how he how he was reading the scripts for The Force Awakens, and he was waiting for his scenes to come in and waiting for him to come in and getting into the area where they're on Starkiller and the lightsabers being pulled by someone by the Force, and he's like, oh, here, I'm going to catch it. This is going to be basically badass. He didn't say that, so I'm just paraphrasing, and to find out it wasn't him and showing a missed opportunity already. So do you think that The Force Awakens foreshadowed Luke in a sense that his character arc was going to be flipped onto its head? Or do you think that maybe if it was handled the third or second episode, episode of the trilogy, of that trilogy, so episode 8, do you think it would have been handled differently if it wasn't Rian Johnson? So what's your opinion? Yeah, he trolls. He does troll. And, I was trying to avoid that word, but basically, yeah, there's truth in that. He does troll, but he isn't trolling us per se. He's trolling those who are very huge fans of The Last Jedi and of Rian Johnson. So I think that's very interesting. All right. So I just thought that was a little interesting bit there. And I thought I would begin with that, because he, Mark played the first ever hero of the Star Wars lore. And so, he may have political views that may not resonate with some of us. But, your political view is yours, and I'm not going to shame you for that, or I'm not going to say that I'm better for you because I don't think like you. So that's why I don't really share politics, because it's none of anybody's business what I think about it. And it's so heated today that we can't even have a proper discussion. And it's kind of like Star Wars now, because me sharing about the Mandalorian and how much it's mirroring the Fett's arc, even though it's not about them, has triggered a lot of people not against me, but it has triggered a lot of people to defend Disney Star Wars. And I'm not trying to say Disney Star Wars, their take on The Mandalorian is bad. I'm just pointing out how much it is mirroring and maybe a generic version of what we have seen in the original Star Wars. Hi, Rosetta Ellen. How are you doing? How's everything going on your end? All right. So how many of you guys got into Disney Plus and subscribed for free, whether it's Verizon or whether it's the 1 free week of viewing? The Last Jedi confused my granddaughter, 10. She believed they set up Rey and Finn were going to find Luke to become a Jedi. Oh, that's very interesting. And when you see The Force Awakens, it looks like they were supposed to have continued the journey together. And same with Poe. So they began maybe the 3, which is something that's set in the lore with the movies, is that you have your 3 heroes. You have Luke, Leia, and Han in the original trilogy, and then you have Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Padme in the PT. Yeah, I agree, Paul. How you doing? Ryan should stay away from Star Wars, and that is something that I am finding fascinating, because we keep on seeing him saying, "Oh, I'm writing and I'm producing a new trilogy," and then all of a sudden it gets retracted again. So I think there is some truth in that right now, whether they keep him on or not is a mystery. But right now he ain't doing nothing for them. So I mean, it is what it is, and I just don't see him doing anything, but you never know. They have surprised us. 3-week subscription. Yeah, I got the Verizon. I have Verizon, and so I have that. And so I'm going to go into a topic of that. So Disney reported that Disney Plus exceeded expectation and already achieved 10 million subscriptions for their Disney Plus, for their streaming. And my thing is that I think most of those subscriptions are basically the free subscriptions, whether you are using Verizon or whether you get the free subscription link. Yeah, I agree with you, Crazy Eyed. Why pay double if you already have, the Disney? I think, well, Disney has become a monopoly corporation. So, they're buying out a lot of media, whether it be standard, regular like news channels to, big entertainment companies. They are monopolizing the entertainment world. And that's not good because once they do that, you know, um, everything's going to be the same. We're not going to have a variety. Hey, Stig, how are you doing? All right, so if I missed you and didn't see you come in, hello, welcome, and I hope you have your eye opener, your coffee, your tea, or whatever. I have the sun shining me on one side, and so I'm kind of like not in good light, so I got to take care of that next time. All right, so with Disney Plus, again, we're staying on that topic before we move on to the Mandalorians, because that's one of the main topics I want to talk about here. You know what? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Verizon is partnered with Disney, like if Disney is a owning company. But I think they partnered up with Disney for this plan, maybe. So I'm going to look into that some more because I was thinking about that earlier when I subscribed to Disney Plus. Are they partnering up on this deal, or does Disney have some type of ownership towards them now? And I wouldn't be surprised. Hi, 19K Fox, how you doing? All right, so now if you have Disney Plus, go look at the ratings of all the movies. And you will see on that basically woke warnings are saying that this content is not up to standards of today. Basically, I'm just paraphrasing. I don't have that in front of me. I thought I kept it on my phone right here, but I was doing a lot of homework and research for this, and my personal stuff that I accidentally clipped out of it. But so basically Disney is now giving out safe space warnings. So if you're gonna watch even their old classic movies like Dumbo, it's gonna warn you this content may not be proper for you because it's not caught up to our time or whatever. So I think it's very interesting that they are doing these woke warnings, because why? I mean, seriously. I mean, it's a classic, a lot of these movies, Disney stuff, especially their classic cartoons, it's all fantasy, it's all fairy tales. And so why do these woke warnings that may not be gender, like gendered, up to date with gendered standards or whatever, diversity or whatever you want to call it? Why do that? It's it's brainwashing our children, it's brainwashing people. Growing up, I didn't have to worry about that. I didn't think about that. And I am Native American, but I also have a wide variety of different ethnicities in my family. I have a nephew that's Black and Native American and German. And one of my grandparents is Filipino. One of my aunties, her husband was white. And so, and then another auntie, one of her husbands, because she got married twice, has an Irish, he was full blood Irish. And so, like I said, I have a variety of ethnicities in my family. And there was no discrimination. We just loved each other as is. And I also have an uncle that's gay. And we didn't have to be careful how we talked. We didn't have to do special things to make my uncle feel better about himself. So why are we doing this in today's society? Because people feel they need that attention, because people are too soft. It's just so friggin' frustrating, and my kids do not fall into that today's societal norms. So I'm very happy about that. All right, so let's move on before I get into a longer tangent. Hello, Mr. Pete. How are you doing? Hey, Benjamin, how are you doing? So thank you guys for all tuning in here. I appreciate it. You guys are amazing. For it's morning time. I know there's a lot more things we can be doing or staying in if you need to in bed. All right, so Mandalorian. So like I said, I did subscribe because it's free. I would not pay for it otherwise. I don't want to, with all the things that Disney allowed their associates to do to Disney fans that disagreed with maybe The Force Awakens, but it also goes more deeper into The Last Jedi. With the backlash, the back talking, name calling, and all that. Just because many fans did not agree with the direction they are taking Star Wars, I will not pay for their service. And I basically don't. I wouldn't say don't have the money for it. It's just not worth my investment. And so I did watch The Mandalorian, and I thought it was okay. I thought it was good. I mean, I didn't think it was world breaking, where this is going to end the division between fans and fix what Disney is doing to Star Wars. No, it's maybe a itty-bitty glimpse of hope. It's only one episode. And so, only truth will be told after we see a couple more episodes on where this is going. But I don't think a singular little series will fix what has been going on. I think that they're generally going to have to produce a movie on the big screen, and maybe a series, like a trilogy, that isn't woke, that doesn't have that narrative, that doesn't want to cater to me as a woman, that doesn't want to cater to anybody for a specific gender, that just does strict lore and old-fashioned Star Wars. I think that maybe if they do it that way, then there will be hope. And what is so sad is that Star Wars was about the big screen. That was the glory of Star Wars, is waiting the few years in between productions to find out what's going to happen in the next movie. And now that we've gotten Star Wars so quickly and fast without any true guidance or true storyline to which way they want to go with this, it just damaged the property. And now it's reduced to being on just a little TV series. Basically, that's what Disney Plus is just a TV series. And so that shows how far Disney or Star Wars has fallen. Filoni isn't directing or writing all of them. He only did the pilot. Yes, I agree. And so as we're moving on into this, I did watch SC Reviews this morning, and he reported, and I think it was maybe the panel from The Mandalorian a while back, and how basically George considers Filoni as a son. And when you have a working relationship with someone and you work for someone in their company, yeah, there's going to be that relationship. And I think that's good, but I just have a slight difference opinion about Filoni, and I may not be the popular person about this, and I'm not trying to take away any of his credit with his work behind the scenes. No, because I have no idea what had gone on behind the scenes when he worked in the time when it was George's company. And but when you go and listen and research Filoni while he was producing the Clone Wars, he admitted that he screwed up and messed up on the EU, because he did. He really freaking screwed up the EU, so they had to start retconning everything in the books So as we got further into this to the EU post Return of the Jedi, like Fate of the Jedi series, it was being retconned, especially the Mandalorian and the Fets as Mandalorian. So that's telling. If George really didn't want the Fets to be Mandalorian, then why are they correcting it and making the Mandalorian later in the lore before the buyout? So think about that. And so they were retconning that. And he also stated in some videos that, yeah, he screwed up and that he messed up. And also, too, George, there's things George wanted, and he went behind his back for it because at the time, George was producing Red Tail Hawks and other movies. So he wasn't behind the scenes with him all the time. And when you look at it, and I'm going to go ahead and compare Clone Wars to the Clone Wars, George Lucas has writing credits. The Clone Wars, George does not have any writing credits or creative credits at all. Yeah, Jon Favreau, I am kind of holding my breath on him too, and I'm kind of excited about that. I just hope he doesn't turn Star Wars into more of a parallel universe, because he comes from a franchise that does that. And Star Wars has never been a parallel universe. It's always been one constant history and lore. Yeah, the first one, yeah, and I'm not trying to say the first episode, I'm not trying to discredit it, because there's a lot of people that really, really loved it, and that's good. And when so being critical and analyzing like I do, and part of my history, like in my life, I've also been a background investigator. So I learned how to investigate, search up the truth, find records, find facts, ask the questions. So I used to be a background investigator for a gaming industry here where I live at. So that's why I like to analyze. That's why I like to annotate my books. That's why I like to dig deep further into what I'm talking about. And if I do make mistakes, I try to, say, hey, and I admit it, that I made mistakes. And so, hi, Nihilus. Yeah, Star Wars is now a parallel universe, and we'll go into that before we get into the novel here. So, so looking at Filoni, he did admit, and he did go behind George's back on a lot of creative decisions, and he owns up to it, and he owns up to the fact that he screwed up with the EU. What can you do? So, is he the savior? Is he the golden child? I don't know, but at least he understands a little bit more than what we have been seeing with JJ and RJ. All right. So on the Mandalorian. So lately, like to get everybody hyped, if you follow me on Twitter, I have been sharing, like the Mandalore culture from the original Star Wars lore, and also Fett. And the Fett culture, and I don't know how to turn off these notifications yet. Sorry. And since I have been, and then since the Mandalorian came out, I have been getting a lot of like backlash for that, and trying to say that I'm tearing down the Mandalore or Disney Star Wars, and that's not the case. Like my point I've been trying to get at is that I see the Mandalorian as a generic version of the Fets. Sorry, Nihilus. Yeah, I haven't went into figure out my laptop I'm using is basically for my digital drawing that I do. And I was going to grab my Mandalore image, or my Fett image of the helmets. One side is Boba Fett and one side is Jango Fett. So I shared it on my Twitter a while back when I created it, but I inked out with Copic markers and pen the Mandalore helmet, and one side was Jango and the color scheme of his, and then one side was Boba. So I thought it was pretty interesting. So yeah. So I've been getting a little bit backlash to where people think that I am trying to hate on Disney Star Wars people, and it's not the fact. If you love The Mandalorian, I welcome you to explore the original EU, the Mandalorian culture, and the Fets. And last night I posted a fun fact video on my YouTube, and it's about Boba Fett and how his image and his character inspired the Mandalorian culture and the Mandalorian people. And that's still got some little bit of backlash to where, oh no, the Fetts are not true Mandalorians, and going on defending, like what is maybe canon now, or even what they think is canon in the original lore. And I'm like, this, I'm not trying to make the point of that. I'm trying to point out that what we see in the original trilogy, starting in Empire Strikes Back, how we see Boba Fett with his helmet, his armor, everything, that inspired the Mandalorian culture in the lore. I will never forgive Disney for canceling 1313. Yes, I've seen a lot of backlash. My son particularly is a big gamer. And so he was a bit disappointed with that too. He was more into combat games and stuff, but that 1313 was another thing that he was looking at as well. Yeah, we're about to get bounty hunter centric, possibly M-rated Star Wars game finally in like 12 years since Bounty Hunters was released in PS2. Yes. So that, like the decanonization of the original EU, and that includes games and stuff, really took a hit on the Star Wars foundation. And not many people realize that. It's like they wanted to create a clean slate, but they basically wiped out a lot of the foundation. Yes, the movies is the initial foundation. Everything is created off of the movies, and rightfully so. But when you take away and you knock down the house that was built on the foundation, the movies, it leaves cracks, it leaves vulnerability. It's like taking the shelter over the heads of the fans away. Bounty Hunter came out in that, this is Annihilus, Bounty Hunter came out in that transitory period of third-person games just before Resident Evil 4. Sorry, I like that. Sorry, that made me laugh. Yeah, so, and then those of us who are like really delved into reading the material, like the comics and the novelization, one of the biggest hits was The Sword of the Jedi with Jaina Solo. You think the Mandalorian is a rewritten leftover of the canceled Boba Fett movie? Yeah, and that's another thing too, is that, we had all that rumors and all that about the Boba Fett movie coming out when Solo was being produced. And Stig has a great point. It looks like it is, because when you look at, if you know the Mandalore lore and the Fett lore, you will see, like I said, a generic version of that. And that could have been, they could have had the story treatment for that and just went off of that too as well. Yeah, and so the Clone Wars did decanonize that, but then they retconned it back. So when you see, and I have one in front of me, and I wish it was the one that has him, let me see. Here we go. Then we get into this, which retcons it. And in here, and post Return of the Jedi, Boba Fett becomes the Mandalore, which basically is, I wouldn't say a ruler, but he is the head person of the culture. And as we know in the lore, Mandalorians, they're a clan and they work together. However, they don't have a ruler faction. And but the Mandalore is someone that's very highly respected and that keeps order in a sense. And so Boba Fett is that. He is the ruler, if you would. And I wish I had a better word to describe that. Yeah, so that book is in Legacy of the Force. And this is the second book in the series. I should know that already. Let me look. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's a second book. So we have Betrayal, Bloodlines, Tempest, Exile, Sacrifice, Inferno, Fury, Revelation, and Invincible. Yeah, so it's the second one in the book. The first one is The Fall of Jason Solo, which is very intriguing. And I think it keeps getting better, especially when Boba Fett is training Jaina. The same way the New Jedi Order ran defense for the PT for adults. Yeah, let me see. I think they decided to go with the generic Mandalorian instead of Boba Fett in case it didn't do so well. That's an interesting point. Maybe. I mean, I don't think no matter which way they went, I think if they would have went with Boba Fett and explored him after he got out of the Sarlacc pit, I think it would have went really, really well because it would connect to the movies very well. It would be, I wouldn't say a sequel to the movies, but it would expand it on the movies, just like with, even though, you know, I'm like almost on the fence with Rogue One. It is but Rogue One basically, you know, I wouldn't say set up, but it led into A New Hope. So, you know, if they would have went that way, I think it would have been a smarter choice. Yeah, I would still be comparing and contrast because, you know, they're not going to stay true to Boba's story as we've seen with Luke, as we've seen with Han, and as we've seen with Leia. But it would have been an interesting little progression after Return of the Jedi with Boba Fett's story and how he got out of the Sarlacc pit and how he survived. It must be a pain for the canon keepers to keep up with all the redos and canon changes. Yeah, and Soul Assassin, you're right. And I have posted it on my Twitter, but I have not went into it on my YouTube channel yet. But basically, there was Timothy Zahn, and I forgot another author, and I should know his name because I love his books, and I don't want to just randomly pick someone. They were sitting on a panel, and people asked if there was a buyout, would retconning or doing away with all the novels be feasible, like all the expanded universe? And basically, Timothy Zahn said it would be a mess to get rid of all the established lore and all the books, and a discerning to all the authors that put their time and efforts into the book. Hey, Abu, how you doing? What's up? I'm glad you are here. I hope you have some sort of coffee and that you are having a great day. Yeah, so Zahn said that. And then what I found interesting is after he started writing for Disney Star Wars for the EU, he went back on his word. So I thought that was very, very interesting, but I don't expect him to still say that because he's not going to bite the hand that feeds him. And that's just how it is. And even with like, I think Leland Chee's still in the company, so he's not going to necessarily bite the hand that feeds him. And so they will say stuff that counters what they were doing previously in George's franchise or George's business. I could go on a stream and see Tommy. Hi, Drunk 3PO. How you do? You can go on any stream and see Tommy. Yeah, Tommy he's freaking amazing. He just goes and supports, and a lot of you guys do. Yeah, long live Boba Fett. Cheers to that. Raise your cups to Boba Fett. All right. Unfortunately, honey, after 12 p.m. here, I've got to go back to court. Oh, well, you gotta earn the money, right? You gotta live, make your living. Thank you though for dropping in. Yeah. So I also shared, and I like you guys to go see my fun fact video and how Fett was, again, like I said, inspired the Mandalorians, the culture, the armor. And I'm going to be interested in seeing how the Mandalorian's armor is going to be created, because right now he has the knockoff mixed colors going on. But when you go and look into the lore, there was the color of the Beskar that's used on a Mandalore. So his color that he wears signifies, you know, his status, or where you like where he's at within his own journey. And I wish I would have gotten further into the coloring, and so that's what I'm going to do and share, because next Tuesday I'm beginning my Star Wars lore with Mandalore stuff. So I'm going to dive into the books that deal with the Mandalore culture and progress all the way into Legacy of the Force and Fate of the Jedi. So hopefully creating that progression so more people can understand these novels and get into them. So I'm going to start from the very first, hopefully the very first, and go all the way towards the Fate of the Jedi. Let me take a drink. Hi, Stig. How else is gonna be creeping back and forth. Well, hopefully that you're able to, and you don't get busy. You know, I've always said, oh, I'm gonna do this, and then I have to not. I get shot down because life gets busy. Duraplast and alum. I heard his armor was crushed or something. OG Star Wars. Hi, Miss Nerf Herder. How you doing? Which one is that one? Like that Boba Fett's armor from Return of the Jedi? Do you think that carbonite freezing was betrayed in Mandalore accurately in relations to the EU? Yes. And I got onto a big debate. Oh my God. So I've been getting a lot of debates on Twitter. So if you see me, I kind of get resentless on it because I try to make the point here, and then they just keep going and keep going and keep going. I need to learn how to maybe just like let bygones be bygones, or just, but you know, it's like I try to give them some truth, and then it's like they just don't want to see it. And I did maybe insult someone this morning on Drunk 3PO's post, and it wasn't my intention, but I had to do it. I had to do it. So someone was like, I don't like the prequel trilogies, and I never read the EU, and so why does everybody love Boba Fett, the original trilogy? I don't get it. And so I posted on there, then you are lost. I just had to. And we did get into a conversation, like my joke side, we did get into the conversation about why people were fascinated and how Boba Fett came a staple of Star Wars. They can't handle the truth. That's another one. That's a great one. So yes, I was kind of like, bam, you know, with that, like, then you were lost, because someone's saying, I don't like the prequel trilogy, and then I haven't read the EU. Of course, you're not going to understand how Fett came into the picture and how he was expanded in the lore. And so I offered the person to read the books, and read post Return of the Jedi books to understand Boba Fett coming forward, but also to dive into the PT and even the EU in that time frame to understand how the Fetts came to be. So yeah. And like I said, I wasn't trying to be a bitch or anything. Sorry, I cussed, but yeah. But I just had to run with that. He just set himself up, and I hope that this person has a sense of humor. If not, then oh well, what can I do? Okay, let's see here. I'm just reading the comments real quick. I really like this one. I'm going to show it. So they can't handle the truth. Yes. All right. Yeah. So now that I had that little laugh, so how many of you guys put a 1 if you're going to continue watching the Mandalorian? And also, do you think that this will maybe breathe some life, or at least as a CPR to Star Wars in general? So do you think, are you still going to continue with the Mandalore watching? If you have a week subscription, and so you have that free week of subscription, are you going to continue to pay afterwards? And two, do you think that Mandalorian is like the CPR that's being to the Star Wars franchise right now? So let me know what you think about that. So let's go ahead and switch gears because I do want to get into this book here. And this, there we go. This is such a great read, and it's also can be in a trilogy. So you have Labyrinth of Evil, you have Revenge of the Sith, and then you have this book here, Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader. And that makes a good trilogy, even though I don't think it was meant to be a trilogy. Maybe so. I could be wrong. But they all complement each other on Anakin's fall and rise as Darth Vader. Okay. So with that, I did do my Star Wars lore on it, so that's why we are covering it this week or today. And I really like how this progressed, and it happened like the beginning of the book gives us a glimpse of Order 66. And I know there's a book, Order 66, out there. And but this also gives us another look at Order 66 and how the commandos, or how the clone troopers some of them were very confused with the order, to where some Jedis were allowed to escape. So it shares that like some confusion that some of the clones had with the Order of 66, with the implementing and killing the Jedi. And I think that was really interesting. And that's where another thing where the Clone Wars does this injustice is that if they really had chips in their heads, then, and so they were basically programmed in a sense through electronic, then why do we have, in the lore as well, a lot of the clones going against the Order? Not a lot, but there are some. And so this book really is great on that, and it shows like how the Jedi flee and have to go into hiding, and trying to find other Jedi, and discovering the call out to the Jedi to return to the temple that Vader set, and how they went ahead and changed that to help save other Jedi from falling into the trap. So there's a little bit of spoiler there. And let me see. Let me read these comments. I didn't mind the Raven novel. I like that. Okay, so we're talking about the Revan novel. Cool. I can't wait to get way back into those. I'm going to start with Bane, though, I think. Yeah. And then I also liked the fact that, yeah, there was politics in it, but the politics played a lot on Palpatine's transition in as Empire, and how he was trying to rein in at the Senate. I am the Senate, but how he's trying to rein in the Senate, and create some kind of order in his own rule, and how suspicious some of the senators were, especially Bail Organa, and so this is leading up to Vader's visit to Alderaan, and how that scared the crap out of Bail Organa, because he has baby Leia. And so that's an interesting read as well, especially if you're a big Leia fan and want to know like if she had any contact with Vader, or if there was any contact with her even as a baby in the EU. And so this is a great little expanded story here. So I'm going to go ahead and play a little clip, because I have it on Audible as well, because that's how I roll. And this is another thing I always defend about the prequels. Was this book here, or the rise of Darth Vader. Let me see. Did I miss something here, Chaos? Just go ahead and elaborate and I'll post it up here. So I'm going to go ahead and play. Whoops. I'm going to go ahead and play. I'll keep my image up here. I clipped from it here just to get you guys excited about the novelization if you haven't, or excited to
himself the same question. In the throne room, he'd tried to puzzle out which among the Emperor's cabal of advisors, human or otherwise, were aware that Palpatine was a Sith Lord who had manipulated the entire war and eradicated his sworn enemies, the Jedi, as part of a plan to assume absolute power over the galaxy. Certainly Masa Amida knew, along with Sate Pestage and possibly Sly Moore. Bale doubted that Armand Isard or any of Palpatine's military advisors knew. How would their knowing change things in any case? To the few beings who knew or cared, the Sith were nothing more than a quasi-religious sect that had disappeared a millennium ago. What mattered was that Palpatine was now Emperor Palpatine, and that he enjoyed the staunch support of most of the Senate and the unwavering allegiance of the Grand Army. Only Palpatine knew the full story of the war and its abrupt conclusion. But Bale knew a few things that Palpatine didn't. Primarily, that Anakin Skywalker and Padme Amidala's twin children had not died with her on the asteroid known as Polis Massa, and that in the twins, Jedi Masters Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda were placing their trust for the eventual defeat of the dark side. Even now, infant Luke was on Tatooine in the care of his aunt and uncle, and being watched over by Obi-Wan. And infant Leia. Bale grinned just thinking about her. Infant Leia was on Alderaan, probably in the arms of Bale's wife, Briha.
Now let me get back to the screen here. All right. Oh. Put myself back in here. Hello, hello. Are you guys there? Oh, you need to get out of here. All right. All right. So I'm just going to keep that up there as is. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little little clip from the Dark Lord here. And that shows that, you know, Bale understands who Vader is and, you know, what's going on in the Senate and his perception about the Sith and what's going on and how he understands that the twins are the hope of destroying the Sith, destroying the dark side. And so it nods greatly into the OT as well. And so I thought that was awesome. And so this is something good. This book in Audible is abridged. So if you haven't read the book, read it first. Read it first and then get the Audible. The Audible is a great complement to the books. If you can find them unabridged, like the Thrawn trilogy is unabridged. Which is awesome, but it's like, I wouldn't say it's a commitment, but you know, you would be having that on your listening for a while. Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader is unabridged, so it's not as long. And so, like I said, I highly recommend getting the Audibles and complement to the books. They are great. I like to cruise around town and put them on if I don't feel like listening to music. So it's a great, great compliment. Let me get this out of here. There we go. There we go. So tell me what you guys like about Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader. What is your rating? And is it something that you would visit often to read? Also, too, do I like Death Trooper? Yes, I did. And I thought about doing Death Trooper for a review around Halloween. And I think Ryan did Death Trooper. And so I just laugh because there's sometimes we do think alike on some things that we want to do. And so I try to see what he's doing. So I don't do it. I was going to start with the Thrawn trilogy and he's doing a book club. So I am, you know, reviewing it again so I can join in on the talk within the book club. But I want to save that for what's going on, what he's doing. So I don't I wouldn't say step on feet, but just let him have that overall space, and I can cover other things because it's such a big expanded universe, so much lore that I can go one way and another EU enthusiast who has their channel can go another, and it gives a great variety to everybody. A 7 out of 10, Benjamin? Okay, good. Well, there was a lot of getting inside, and well, I wouldn't say that Vader, Anakin's head. We got into Vader's head, about him and his suit, about him, his reasoning why he's pursuing the dark side when it comes to Padme, when it comes to Palpatine. So go ahead and visit if you haven't, I think you have, go ahead and visit my Star Wars lore on the Dark Lord. Nice. So you have reread it many times and you give it an 8. Yes. And 8 is really good too as well. Some people have a very clever way of rating novelizations and even movies to where there's nothing perfect, and that's just how the world is. Even with my art, there's nothing perfect. My father-in-law has once said, rest in peace, that only the creator or God makes things perfectly. And so I thought that was brilliant of him, and he's also an artist as well, or was. Abu Nas, 10 out of 10. And I'm just saying, okay, nothing's perfect, and he comes up with 10 out of 10. So Abu has spoken. Love it. 10 out of 10 for me because of Lucino. Awesome writing. Yeah, he does have some great writing. And again, I mean, even if you go on to listen to Audible and listen to the spots, the places where Vader thinks about Anakin being insuperior, and also to how he does not like the suit, how the suit is made poorly, to even how he thinks that Palpatine is just using him. It's a great story, and it goes more into depth in the book. So read it. It's amazing. Yes, and how deep down Anakin knows he lied about knowing the secret of life and death. Yes, and so in a sense, what fuels Vader is betrayal, not just betrayal that he thinks that he got from the Jedi Order, which I may be the different opinion on this. I don't think that the Jedi Order betrayed him. I just think because he came into the Order later in life, that they seen him still needing to progress, and I think they needed to keep him. I wouldn't say keep him, but they needed to have him, still be under the tutelage and learn a little bit longer because of his age. And if he would have came in as a toddler, infant, or whatever, and grown up as through a Padawan, through a learner year and stuff like that, then his progression to master would have been sooner. But it's not going to be, it's still going to be the same timeline. He's just a different age. And so, and then plus there was a lot of fear and doubt was being planted in the Jedi as well because of Sidious. Sidious was using, the dark side energies to mask himself and create confusion and chaos, and fogging up the Jedi's opinions. All right. Okay. Only will read Dark Lord with Labyrinth of Evil and Revenge of the Sith, though. Do you think okay to read without reading the other two? Yes. Especially even if you watch the movie and you haven't read the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, which I recommend reading the novelization anyways. Reading this will also help you understand, again, the psyche of what's going on in Anakin / Vader's head. So it's a good read if you really, really want to get into, and then also into Vader's head, and also to the state of the Jedi, And the ending of the book is very, very compelling as well, because you have Vader having a showdown with Roan. Is it Roan? His name is, yeah, Roan Shrine. And Roan Shrine is a character too that's kind of, I wouldn't say kind of, he's very interesting in the book too, because he's very pessimistic. And even though when he's like, we have to stop being Jedi, he is basically protecting those who are with him as a Jedi, and he doesn't even know it. And then also shows the relationship between the Jedi Order and finding Force sensitives for the Jedi. And so it goes a little bit into that as well. And I didn't cover that on the review. And then also too, at the end of the novelization, we have Obi-Wan finding out that Vader/Anakin survived. And that is such a compelling ending to the book. And so it has its own little mini chapter to it. Let me see, maybe I could read instead of doing the clip. Let's see here. I don't know yet. I didn't mark it because I wasn't planning on reading, but I do have it marked on my Audible. So basically, Obi-Wan panics and Qui-Gon appears to him. And so that's very compelling. And like I said, I did share a clip of that Obi-Wan speaking with Qui-Gon from the Audible. Okay, I was just reading, sorry. Yeah, so I would read that. Sorry, I was reading your guys' comments, and let me drink some coffee and get back on track. Yeah, okay. Let me see. Okay, so I do have a very ending here, and this is Qui-Gon talking with, and we're going to close it with this because I wanted to keep my live streams just an hour for coffee chat. Oh, an announcement. So at the end, I was going to say Thursday, but I do work Thursdays on occasion. So I'm thinking of doing it Tuesdays, but every last Tuesdays, maybe Thursdays, I'm going to have a cocktail chat. And I want to be able to bring people on and have a cocktail chat with me. And so stay tuned. I was going to do it the last Thursday of this month, but that's Thanksgiving. So I will not be available. And I know a lot of you guys probably won't either, whether you celebrate Thanksgiving or not. And so I'm thinking the last Tuesday of this month. So stay tuned with details. I hope to have a special person on here with me. And also too, I've been talking with State Kenobi about doing a collaboration about the EU lore and talking about it too as well. So we're developing that. We wanted to do it this last Tuesday, but I got my daughter, she got placed on the jazz dance team because our dance teams has different little categories, jazz, contemporary, whatever. They needed her to step up. And so she got placed on the jazz dance team. And so we had to go take care of costuming and all that in the local city where I live at. All right, so let's go ahead and read this and choose me. We will chat. Abu, we will chat. Okay, so I'm going to read this and close here. So this is Qui-Gon talking with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yes, although the Anakin you and I know is imprisoned by the dark side, I was wrong to leave him on Mustafar, Obi-Wan said. I should have made sure he was dead. And this is Qui-Gon. The Force will determine Anakin's future, Obi-Wan. Luke must not be told that Vader is his father until the time is right. And so now we know why Yoda and why Obi-Wan did not tell Luke right away. Should I take further steps to hide Luke? Obi-Wan asks. The core of Anakin that resides in Vader grasps that Tatooine is the source of nearly everything that causes him pain. Vader will never set foot on Tatooine, if only out of fear of reawakening Anakin. So see, Anakin is so strong that Vader is afraid of Anakin, afraid of that light side of him because he has lost so much. Obi-Wan exhaled in relief. Then my obligation is unchanged. But from what Yoda told me, I know that I have much to learn, Master. You're always that way, Obi-Wan. Qui-Gon's voice faded, and Obi-Wan's fears began to dissipate, replaced by renewed expectation. Returning to the dazzling light of Tatooine twin suns, he caught up with Owen, Beru, and Luke, and kept a silent watch over them for what remained of the day. So this goes, and it just gives me chills. Okay, it just gives me chills. And it, you know, like I said, it nods back into the OT and how committed Obi-Wan was to protect the Jedi Order and to keep it alive with his mission to protect Luke. And so I think a lot of people misunderstand that. And so yes, go out and read this, and hopefully I give you a different perspective on when you watch the original trilogy. So I'm going to go ahead and close here. Thank you guys so much for coming in and having this live chat with me. You know, I was a little bit scatterbrained today. I just been trying to get some assignments done for my college class, and I'm a bit tired, but hey, we hung in there. You guys are great. Sorry I missed some of your guys' conversations. I'll be more prompt to it next time. And may you guys have a great day. May the force be with you.